Okay, we are going to start. I already started the recording, so you can watch the class after this. So we are going to pray so we can ask God to be in here. So let's close our eyes, bow our heads there where you are. Heavenly Father, thank you for this afternoon. Well, this night over here. Thank you for all your care you had with us during the day. Thank you for your love and your mercy with us. Right now that we're going to start with this course in this quarter, we ask you that you may be here, that your presence may feel this class, and that you can help us during all this course, that you can bless our minds and give us intelligence and wisdom so we can improve our English and our abilities as well. Please stay here with us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So girls, the course, this course, it's called English 2. So I suppose that you already took English 1, and these are the first courses of English. So it's very basic English. We're going to be learning some stuff about the grammar, some vocabulary. If you saw in the platform, I already uploaded all the vocabulary, all the words that you need to know for this first class. We're not going to see it here. You're just going to revise it and review it at home. And if you have any question regarding that vocabulary, you can ask me. Today, we're going to be working with personal pronouns, and we're going to be working with simple present as well. It's interesting. If you remember, there is a Bible verse that talks about how God doesn't have a time. It's like now, in the future, and in the past as well. So, but today, since we're humans, right, we're not God, we're going to be studying the simple present. It's the present in which we're going to use also these personal pronouns that we're going to see. So welcome, Serena, as well. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Sorry that's so late.
Don't worry. So let me just check something here. Okay. So we are going to see that today. I'm going to project it here. If you have any question or doubt, please don't hesitate to ask me. This is the idea of these, that you can't clarify anything that it's confusing for you. So here we have simple present. We're going to see personal pronouns and adverbs of frequency. I heard that there was one of you who was in another class with me, so I guess that would be grammar 1. So you already know about the personal pronouns, not the adverbs of frequency or simple present. But some of the topics, if some of you are in grammar 1, some of the topics of English 2 are going to be the same. So you're going to be reinforcing the same topics that we have been studying in one of the classes. In some of the courses, sorry, in some of the classes, you may have, you may see the topic for the first time or the second times, because some of the topics are repeated. That's okay. It's part of the curriculum that we need to cover, so we're just gonna practice more. We're going to have more practice. So simple present, here we have different personal pronouns and the verb to be. Remember that personal pronouns are the ones that replace the place of a person. In this case, we have I, que es yo, he, que es él, she, que es ella, or it can refer to una cosa o un animal as well. Usually, when we have the verb to be, we're going to have I am, yo soy, or yo estoy. Remember that the verb to be means ser, sorry, ser o estar. And in the case of he, we're going to say is. She, we're going to say is, or it's gonna be is. Sorry again. Something is happening with my throat. So here we have I am, he is, she is, and it is. If we want to form it in negative, we just need to add not after the verb to be. So in this case, it will be I am not, he is not, she is not, or it's not. We just add the not after the verb to be. Just excuse me a moment. I'm gonna drink water. Let me see. Okay, now, so here we have the personal pronouns and the verb to be. We also have more personal pronouns. In this case, we have you, que es usted, o ustedes. It can be singular or plural. You are, we are. Remember that we, it's other people and myself. So we say we are, they are. Usually when they are plural, we are going to use the verb to be as are, and when it's singular, we're going to use it as is. Just in the case of I, we're going to say I am. Is there any questions so far? Is this clear? Are we okay with personal pronouns?
Very clear.
Okay, thank you. Now, here we have a summary of all of them. I, you, we, they, you, which can be singular or plural depending on the situation. We have he, she, and it. Those are the personal pronouns. And here you have them used with the verb to be. Remember that the verb to be, it's to express general info and also to express descriptions of people or places, like she is tall, or she's 18 years old, or he is in my class. We can talk about the space or the place where a person is. So usually we're going to use the verb to be in simple present to express that. Now, some of the questions that we can use to use verb to be in simple present, it's what is his or her name, who is he, who is she. We can use the verb to be there, or where is he from, where is she from, what is his or her profession, are some of the questions that we can use in simple present and in the verb to be. Remember again that simple present we are going to use, and I'm going to repeat this several times so you can memorize it. The simple present, it's used for general info, like I am a girl, it's info, right? I am a girl. I am in a room. Okay, it's info. You are giving info in that case. And well, I can say I am a teacher. That's general information, and we're using the verb to be as well. So here we have different questions that we can use and how we can answer them as well, like his or her name is, or you can say my name is, or he is. Well, he is my. In the vocabulary you had to study words from the family and profession. So you can say, well, he is my teacher, or he is my dad, or she is my mom, she's my aunt, or she's my grandmother. We can see a relationship with that person using the verb to be in present. Profession, well, you can say, well, she's an engineer, or he is a lawyer, or she is a chef, or he is a vet. We can express the profession, we can express a relationship with that person using verb to be and simple present. So here we have some examples here, and we are going to practice. We are going to give a sentence in simple present using the verb to be. We're going to say, for example, she is Raquel, she is her aunt, and we're going to add a profession as well. We can say, well, she seems, well, she is an artist. She's an artist. We can say that. So let's see, we're going to try this. We're going to go with Debbie. Debbie, can you do this one about Hannah? You can tell us what's her name, who is she, and maybe you can tell us, which is her profession. You can guess or try to imagine.
Okay. Her name is Hannah. She is our sister, and she's a doctor.
Okay, that's great. See how Debbie used the simple present so we can express general info. Let's go with Kellen. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, can you do this one about John?
He is John. His cousin is there with him. He is a carpenter. No.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you, Kellen. Let's go with Alessandro. Serena, can you do it?
Okay, he is Alessandro. He is, right? He is
He is.
their brother.
Their brother.
And he is a teacher.
Okay, that's a good one. Thank you, Serena. Okay, let's go with, this case will be with Dana.
Good evening. Her name is Mallory, and she's my aunt, and she is a practitioner.
Okay, thank you, Dana. Can you do Jim, please, too?
His name is Jim. He is her cousin, and he's an architect.
Okay, thank you. Serena,
You're welcome.
can you do this one about Jalen?
She is Jalen. She is she is their daughter.
She's their daughter.
That's okay. She is their daughter.
She is their daughter. And she is what can I say? Yeah, a student.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Debbie, can you do the one of Fernando, please?
Yes. He is Fernando. He is my big brother, and he is a football player.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. Now, let's see, we're going to see now the simple present, but not the verb to be. We're going to see just the regular verbs. Usually when we have simple present, if we have he, she, and it, the verb changes. Yes, the verb changes when we have he, she, or it. If you see here an example, we have the verb eat. So we have he, she, and it eats. We need to add an S. We are going to see in a moment how we change, how we transform those verbs. In simple present, we're not going to change the verb if we have you, we, they, I. I say I eat, they eat, you eat, we eat. I don't change the verb. But if I am using a third person in my conversation, I may need to add an S or IES or ES in some cases. So I need to change the verb. Don't forget that. The auxiliary in questions, we're going to have does. Does she eat? Does she drink? Does he work? Usually we are going to have the does the verb doesn't change. El verbo solo, sorry, the verb only changes in positive sentences in third person. It's not going to change when we have a question or a negative person. Remember that, guys, the verb only changes when we are working in third person positive sentences. If it's a negative or if it's a question, we're not going to change it. So if you see here an example of the ones with negative sentences, here we have she, he, it, does not eat. We include the auxiliary, the not, and then the verb. We can also make a contraction and we say doesn't. Can you repeat it after me? Doesn't. You know how to pronounce it? Doesn't.
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 Doesn't. That's
Doesn't.
right. It's like the short form of does not. So usually we're going to use this short form when we are talking orally. If we're going to write something, it's very informal to write contractions. We must write does not because it's more formal. But when talking, we can say, well, she doesn't like that, or she doesn't eat apples, or she doesn't work in the mornings. So that doesn't, we're just going to use it in oral language, not in written one. And then we have the auxiliary for you, we, they, which is do. In this case, it's the same. We just add a not for negative sentences. They do not eat, or you don't eat, or I don't eat. And if you want to, you can make the contraction as well, and you can say don't. Don't. You can repeat it after me. You can say don't. Don't. That's a contraction we use instead of saying do not. We can say don't. And for questions, we just move the auxiliary to the beginning. Sorry. Here we have the example for all of them. Does she eat? Do you eat? She does not eat, or she doesn't eat. I do not eat, or I don't eat. Chicos, once more, remember, we only change the verb when we have third person, he, she, or it, in positive form. Don't forget that. Now, which are the rules to change the verb in present in positive? Most verbs, we're just going to add an S at the end. Work, works. Come, comes. Make, makes. If the verbs end in SS or SH or CH or X, we need to add ES. So instead of wash, it's going to be washes. Instead of brush, it's going to be brushes. Instead of teach, it's going to be teaches. For the verbs ending in consonant, plus Y, we're going to drop the Y and we're going to add IES. Study, studies. Cry, cries. Fly, flies. We need to be aware of this, right? If we don't have a consonant and we have a Y, so we have vowel and consonant, we don't need to change anything. We just add the S. For example, if I have the word play, with the word play, I have vowel and Y. I don't need to change anything. I just add the S, sorry. So it's gonna be plays. And the verb have changes to has. This is really important. Has doesn't exist, just has. She has a card, she has a house, she has a purse, she has a bottle. I don't say has. Once more, chicos, remember that these rules are only for present in positive when I have he, she, or it. Now, something that I didn't tell you. Sometimes you may not have he, but you may have a name of a guy. So it could be Roberto. Roberto eats, or Roberto does not eat. You may not have a she, but you may have a name of a she. So you can have a name like Debbie, Serena eats, or Debbie does not eat. Or does Debbie eat cereal, for example? The same for these ones. You may not have the personal pronoun, but you may have a representation of the personal pronoun. Instead of we, you can say, well, Debbie, Kellen, and I, that's we. Or instead of they, I can say, well, Debbie, Kellen, and Serena, that's a they. So make sure that you understand this, okay? The personal pronouns, they just represent people, but sometimes you may not have the personal pronoun and you will have the name of that person or the people that you are talking to or you are talking about. Do you have any questions here? What questions do you have? Everything clear? Okay, if you have a question, please let me know. Okay, now, as I have been telling you since we started, we use simple present for routines and general info. Not only for routines and general info, but for habits as well. Things that you usually do that are very common. So let's see, Debbie, would you like to read please these sentences about Julia?
All of it?
Yes, all of them.
Okay. Julia. Julia is my sister. Julia is an artist. Julia wakes up at 6 a.m. Julia puts on makeup at 8 a.m. Julia goes to work at 9 a.m. Julia comes back home at 4 p.m.
Okay, so here we have that, that Julia, we are given general info. She's a sister, well, she's my sister. She's an artist. That's general info. I use simple present, general info. Routines. Well, she wakes up 6 a.m. That's a routine. That means that it's a daily activity. By the way, in Aula Virtual, I uploaded a PDF about daily activities and some common activities. So if you don't know, there you will have the picture and you will have the daily activities. So you can get more vocab. So let's see, Julia puts on makeup. That's a routine. That's something that she usually does. That's a habit that she has. She goes, vean este como, how this one changed. It says go, and then we need to add es, following these rules that we saw over here. Okay, this one, the O goes here. We add es. And here we have comes back, we just add an s. Put, we just add an s. Wake, we just add an s. Don't confuse the verb to be with the regular verbs. Okay, if I am using the verb to be, I don't need to use another verb. It's very common to see people who say, well, Julia is wakes up. That's not correct. In simple present, we either use the simple present verb, sorry, the simple present verb to be, or a regular verb in simple present, but we don't use them together. We don't use the verb to be and another verb together. So just to make sure that you understand that. Okay, let's see. Kellen, can you read the routines and general info about Jeremy, please?
Jeremy. Jeremy is my brother. He is an engineer. Jeremy takes a shower at 5:30 a.m. Jeremy brushes his teeth at 5:45 a.m. Jeremy gets dressed at 5:50 a.m. Jeremy feeds the cat at 6 a.m.
Okay, thank you, Kellen. Thank you. Okay, same here. We have general info. He is my brother. That's not something that is going to change. He's an engineer. Well, that's something that it may change, but now that's the truth. That's the reality. He's an engineer. And then here we have the routine. See how the verb changes. Sorry, see how the verb changes because of using the third person. Jeremy takes, Jeremy brushes, Jeremy gets, Jeremy feeds, we add that S. Here we add ES because we have SH at the end. Now, when we are talking about routines, when we are talking about habits, we may use adverbs of frequency. Remember that an adverb is what describes an action. And we have the adverbs of frequency, which answer to the question, how often? ¿Qué tan a menudo? ¿Qué tan frecuente? So here we have different adverbs of frequency and the percentage of frequency. Always it's the 100% of the times. Usually it's 90% of the times. It's not 100, but it's almost 100. Here we have normally, generally, often, frequently, sometimes, occasionally, seldom, hardly, ever, rarely, and never. If we're using the adverb frequency with a verb that is not the verb to be, the adverb it's gonna be before the verb. See this one, Daniel always passes, sorry, yes, before. Daniel always passes his exams. That's general info. Why? Because it's a truth, it's a reality. He always passes his exams. But if we are using an adverb of frequency with the verb to be, it needs to be after the verb to be. So you need to be sure that you place the adverb frequency in the correct order. So he is always happy. The adverb goes after the verb to be. So let's see, Serena, can you read please the examples of these adverbs of frequency used in simple present, please?
All the sentences?
Yes, all of them.
Okay. I always study after class. I usually walk to work. I normally get good marks. I often read in bed at night. I sometimes sing in the shower. I occasionally, that's how it pronounced,
Occasionally,
occasionally go to bed late. I seldom put salt on my food. I hardly ever get angry. Um,
vegetarians.
Vegetarians never eat meat.
Okay, thank you. So in this case, well, all of the verbs were not the verb to be, so the adverbs were placed before the verb. And it's very common to use those adverbs of frequency when we're talking about routines, when we're talking about habits, when we're talking about daily activities. Questions? Okay. Now, we can talk about habits in this case. I usually, well, those are some of my habits. I usually comb my hair. I rarely put on makeup. I am using here the adverbs of frequency. I always have lunch and I never feed a baby because I haven't had one. So that's not part of my habits or routine. So in the habits, you can use the adverbs of frequency as well. As you can see here, I didn't use the verb to be. I used other verbs and I placed the adverbs of frequency before the verb. So guys, I don't know if you have any question regarding these, the simple present verbs and the adverbs of frequency. Okay, so I'm going to show you now which are the two activities that we're going to have. I am going to post both of them, but you're going to have like 2 weeks so you can complete both of them because they were supposed to be posted in the last week, the previous one, but I couldn't. So let me show you here. Because in this Zoom, we have restricted time because the engineer couldn't open me a room in the ones of the university. So let me show you here. I know it's not this one. Let me see. Okay, here we are. So in the first project, you will have to write 3 sentences about general information about yourself and write 7 sentences about your daily activity. You need to include adverbs of frequency. Incomplete sentences will not be evaluated. You're going to do exactly the same, but this time you're going to do it with, let me see, about yourself. Okay, no, this is about yourself too, but now they're going to be in negative because I want you to use the negative form as well. Then you're going to do the same, but this time in positive with a relative. You're going to write 3 sentences about general information. For example, my brother, well, that's a real one. My brother, I have a brother, and my brother works in a call center. My brother is younger than me. And then you can write 7 sentences about what he does in his daily life. For example, he usually, well, he always works at home and he usually goes outside. That's up to you how you write and what you write. And you're going to do the same, but this time in negative. So that will be our first project. Do you have any questions regarding this one? Okay, so let's see, guys. Your second project, which is going to be based on these as well, simple present, adverb of frequency, it's going to be this one. Just let me close this one and this one over here. And this is going to be the second one. I'm going to upload both of them. So in this one, guys, we're going to use the professions words, vocabulary. So you're going to choose 3 professions and you're going to write 10 sentences about what they usually do using simple present and general info about them. Incomplete sentences or with wrong grammar will not be taken into account. You need to include adverbs of frequency. So see here, engineers, that's my example. Engineers usually work in construction sites. Engineers often work with other engineers. See how I am using adverbs of frequency and I'm expressing general info about this specific profession. That's my example. You're going to choose 3 other professions. For example, I have here another one, like engineers use computers to work, or engineers like structures and buildings in the majority of the cases, I guess. So you will have to choose 3 professions and you're going to describe those 3 professions. Of course, engineers was taken by myself, so you cannot use it because I already used it here. So guys, do you have any question regarding this, the projects in which you're going to be evaluated this simple present? Everything okay? Tell me something.
Everything is clear. Yeah.
Okay, so guys, still, I'm gonna send you this class so you can repeat it several times in case you need it. But I guess that everything is clear. Okay, everything clear. So I'm gonna post that like in 5 minutes. And if you have any question, you can let me know, okay? Everything okay, yes?
Yes, everything is okay.
Okay, so thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
And well, I'll see you later. Any question, please don't hesitate to contact me, okay? I'll be there to help you in case you need something. I will be posting the presentation as well. So thank you, all of you, and I'll see you later. And I'll be posting that in 5 minutes. I hope that you can have a good night and that you can rest.
Thank you too, Teacher Daniela. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.